So the meeting is called to order, and I'd like to ask our deputy clerk to please call the roll.
Councilmember Kendrick is absent. All others are present.
Excuse me. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and then remain standing for a brief moment of silence? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Michelle, you got your hair cut. Wow, you got a lot of it cut. Nice, looks good. Okay, the city clerk posted orders of adjournment of the June 27th, 2023 meeting and the agenda of the July 11th, 2023 meeting in accordance with state law, City Council, and Housing Authority policy. We have a proclamation for Parks and Recreation Month, which I will read, but first the Director of Parks and Recreation, Mr. Frank Carson. Would you come up and tell us a little bit about this?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. July every year is recognized as Parks and Recreation Month. This year, the national theme is, it's Where Community Grows. This is the National Recreation Park Association's theme this year. And we like to try to be aligned with what they're trying to put as the brand for that year. Just give you a quick recap of El Cajon Parks and Recreation. We have over 100,000 visitors every month in our parks. There are 18 parks here in El Cajon. 120 acres of maintained parkland, which makes it about 1.2 acres of parkland per 1,000 residents. Now, that may seem like a staggering number. We have some neighbors that like to say that they have 10 acres of parkland per 1,000 residents, and a national average is actually 3,000 acres of parkland per 1,000 residents. If you've been around El Cajon, you've noticed that we're about 99% capacity in terms of built out. So I'll talk a little bit about what we have been doing and what we are doing to try to mitigate that. As a national standard, we actually have twice the amount of community centers. And the city council in the 1960s identified that as, okay, we may be underparked, but we're going to have a community center throughout the city. And that's why you see us unusually to have so many community centers compared to almost all of our neighbors. We per capita have twice the amount. So that's a big, I say, feather in our cap here in the city. We also have one community pool based up in the Fletcher Hills area. A lot of people like to recognize Parks and Recreation for special events, but these are truly city services. This is citywide, so we need police, fire, public works, finance, city clerk's office, everybody to help out with our special events. We may have some components where we help facilitate that, but it truly is a citywide special event, so we can't say this is what our core is. Really, what our core is a lot of what you see up here on the screen. So dance, tumbling, cheer, gymnastics, preschool, arts and crafts, youth sports, active adults, aging services, teen programs, swim lessons. I couldn't list all of them, so I forgot to mention on there day camps, also skate and scooter programs. I did want to make sure I highlighted in red diversionary services. So what Parks and Recreation offer in communities is your critical hours of service, which is usually about 3 to 7 p.m., where we connect the community to our rec centers and we provide some type of diversionary activity or some type of service to where youth actually are connected within the community. They have greater ownership in the community if they have that connection where they're not self-guided users, so to speak. One thing you may not be aware of, and I wanted to highlight this year, is that your Parks and Recreation Department is also your emergency care and shelter services. So should we have a wildfire or an earthquake, your Parks and Recreation staff are responsible for care and shelter in an emergency like that. The left-hand side right there, that's a tweet from a couple of years ago. And that August of that year, we put on a larger scale evacuation shelter training through Heartland Fire and some other community partners for our staff. What we'll be doing this August is actually targeting earthquake evacuation shelter. And so we're going to not going to target that we can't communicate via cell phone. We're going to have ham radios or amateur radios to communicate with each other and get that type of practice. So we're more thinking of worst case scenario in terms of an earthquake. That's something that we want to prepare for, that we've spent so much time preparing for wildfires that we need to look at other natural disasters also that may actually happen. I did mention I was going to talk a little bit about what we are trying to do to mitigate being underparked. So if you remember, in 2018, we were awarded a grant through the National Recreation Park Association for creating a plan, and we rolled it out as El Cajon 2030 plan. If you ever see the lanyards, the reason why I have is like, well, what's El Cajon 2030? It gives us an opportunity to talk about what this is. And really, it's connecting people to parks. The goal is to really have a park within a half mile of every residence. We're at about 55% right now. When we started it back in 2019, in April 2019, council approved the plan. We were at 44%. So we've slowly grown, and there's some more opportunities to grow a little bit more as time goes on. And I mentioned pocket parks only because we are so underparked. We don't have a large space, so we're looking at about 10,000 square foot spaces that we can add in a splash pad or a playground or adult fitness equipment, but to active recreation, to really keep that space activated with positive connections. We developed the plan through 18 community meetings. Some of the meetings had 5 different languages spoken. A lot of this was helped through our Cajon Valley School District collaborators. And there were over 800 surveys taken during that time period. So when people refer back to me, well, why are you going in this direction or that direction? I'll refer back to this plan saying, well, we did take over 800 surveys, and this is why we're going in this direction. So if I'm asked about pickleball, or if I'm asked about why are you doing hardscape soccer, it's because those are things our community asks for very specifically. Right now, internally, and I put it on there as a last bullet, we're targeting accreditation through the NRPA, or National Recreational Park Association. There's 154 items you actually have to do to get accredited. Our goal is by next spring. We've been working on it for over a year now, and we're down to 15 items. You'll meet one individual that spent a lot of time on that. She's going to be presenting in just a little bit. Her name's Elena Holmes, and she's the management assistant with our department, but she's really been the backbone behind pushing this process forward. So I want to make sure you guys recognize her when she does have her opportunity coming up. One thing that we are looking at doing as Parks and Recreation Month is actually this Saturday, July 15. We decided last week that we needed to repurpose and rehabilitate the Public Works Parks Maintenance Building over at Wells Park. So between 11 and 2, if you want to get your hand painted on the wall there, come on down to Wells Park this coming Saturday, and you'll be able to be part of that public mural project. When you see public art in a public space, it diminishes that broken windows theory where like bad things are happening and you see something positive like that. It's a celebrated entryway, so to speak. Working with Chris Berg, our marketing and engagement manager, he was able to put together this piece. Hopefully it works. For social media that went out yesterday. Coming up. There's more to promote. Just give me a hand print on the wall. So it'd be great if you came by. It would probably just take less than 5 minutes if you want to come by and also watch the activity going on. And this is just, the original handprints came during the June 2014 Kaboom build. Mayor, you're in that picture if you remember that day. But that's the day where we had almost 200 volunteers put a playground together in that park on that day. I'll take any questions or comments you may have.
Questions?
I got a question.
Steve, good.
Has any city ever partnered with a private landowner to create a partnership of a public park on private land for a period of time?
So we've looked at 2 really successful models. One is the LA 50 model. So the city of LA about 10 years ago started the LA 50 where they wanted to add 50 pocket parks. So they've actually partnered with people that just had vacant parking lots and they threw artificial turf on and they did a 20-year lease for $1 a year. So we're looking at those type of options and also even school district parking lots or anything like that. So we definitely have had even conversations with the Parkway Plaza, but those didn't really pan out. So we're looking at other options also in that regard.
Speaking of Parkway Plaza, is there a chance to partner with Parkway Plaza to do recreation classes inside an empty storefront?
We have had some initial discussions with them, but we're still trying to continue those discussions, see if this is something they really want to do with us. But we did start that conversation, yes, sir.
Seems like it would be good to bring in foot traffic to the mall and
Absolutely.
accomplish some fun at the same time.
We were looking at a pickleball opportunity, but it just didn't work out at the time.
Michelle?
Nice presentation, Frank. We went to Wells Park this weekend, to the dog park, took the dog. Park looks great.
It does.
It really does. It looks great. I've got a book club this Saturday. We're going to be meeting at Wells Park because we needed a place to meet, and so we'll be there to put our handprints on the wall.
Okay, great.
So I think this is a really good idea, and you guys are doing a wonderful job. Thank you.
And I do want to make sure I give kudos to the Public Works Parks Division for all their maintenance of the park also, because they're the ones that make that happen.
It looks great. I didn't check out the restrooms, but I see that they're still in progress.
Right. I think we're waiting for roofing material actually be delivered. It's been quite some time.
Yeah, and the large dog park is much better. Although we are missing the water fountain,
Right.
I know that the sinkhole is better now, and there was a lot of dogs there this weekend. So thank you very much for keeping that up.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bill? All right, do you have your proclamation with you? So we've got a proclamation for it's National Parks and Recreation Month, and I just want to read the end of it because it's very long.
Yes, sir.
But it says, "Now therefore I, Bill Wells, the mayor of the city of El Cajon, together with the city council, do hereby proclaim the month of July 2023 to be Parks and Recreation Month in the city of El Cajon. Signed this 11th day of July 2023.
Thanks, sir.
Please give our best to everybody on the staff and tell them thank you for all their hard work. We're really lucky to have Frank. All right, agenda changes. Staff, do you have any agenda changes?
Mayor, we have no changes.
Council?
Yes, if I may, one agenda change. After reviewing the agenda, it looks like today is July 11th, and that is today is Mr. Mayor's birthday. And in the past, he's felt it's appropriate for the entire council chambers to sing happy birthday to other staff members. So with your approval.
I don't remember that.
Thank you very much for your approval, Mr. Mayor. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Bill. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. Well, I very much appreciate that. Thank you. Okay.
No other changes.
No other changes. Good. I was saying, I wonder what change he wants to make. Okay, we're at consent items now. Consent items are routine matters enacted by one motion according to the recommendation listed below. With the concurrence of the City Council, a council member or a person in attendance may request discussion of a consent item at this time. Council members, do you wish to pull any of the consent items? Staff? Jen, do we have any speaker cards for consent items?
There are no speaker cards, sir.
Okay, I'll make a motion then to approve consent. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote of those present.
That brings us to public comment. At this time, any person may address a matter within the jurisdiction of the City Council, Housing Authority successor agency to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency that is not on the agenda. Comments relating to items on today's agenda are to be taken at the time that the item is heard. State law prohibits discussion or action on items not on the agenda. However, City Council and Housing Authority members may briefly respond to questions, and an item may be placed on a future agenda. Jen, do we have any speaker cards for public comment?
We have one speaker card, and the speaker is going to be Brenda Hammond.
Brenda, it's been a while since we've seen you.
How are you?
Nice. Fine, thank you.
Today is my brother Randy's birthday, too.
No kidding.
Happy birthday, big brother. So, have you noticed that there's still a lot of violence going on? So the past few years cannot be blamed on COVID. We're done with COVID. What I'm witnessing again started way before COVID. So I'm going to go through my series again, like a rerun. Some of you heard this series about 10 years ago. Well, it's time to refresh in at least 3 cities. After all, we share a fire department, right? Sorry, I have to read this because, it's been a while. Dropping the F-bomb is not against the law. What's against the law is messing with people so that they drop the F-bomb. It's harassment and should be considered domestic violence, in my opinion. Mess with me, I'm going to drop the F-bomb. But you're going to mess with someone else, and you're going to get hurt. And you'll probably deserve it. Isn't that what we're still seeing out there? People messing with people, they're shooting people, they ask for it. So taking away our guns is not a good thing. We need to defend ourselves. By the way, when someone repeats something over and over and over again, it probably means the situation or the problem was never resolved. It doesn't need to be labeled PTSD. These are just reasons to put people on medication that make them that way. There's more, but it's personal, and I'm hoping it'll be resolved. And here's a hint. It has to do with racist and sexist remarks along with recording reaction, messing with people, that I have again become a victim of. Yep, I dropped the F-bomb. And while I was being recorded by this dude, and he still records me to this day, security has witnessed it, and now I just say, Ami Wawa. It's a Gypsy King song. Look it up. It's fun. So the rest is doing in La Mesa. So it's good to see everybody. It's been a long time. Thanks for the concerts. And I love how Lemon Grove, La Mesa, and El Cajon, we all have our concerts on different nights so that we can go to all of them. Because some other cities like to try and have them on the same nights as others. Okay, thank you, Phil. So thank you, and I miss Graham. Where is he?
Taking a vacation.
Oh, he deserves it.
Yeah.
And I know he would always wish my brother happy birthday. They go to the same church.
Sure.
See you later.
Thanks for coming. Jen, anybody else?
No other speakers, sir.
All right. We're now at public hearings. We have one item to consider. Item 9 is for the City of El Cajon sewer tax roll fees. And I'll ask staff to tell us about this.
Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor and Council members. To start off the discussion, I do need to bring up there were a few minor issues that we had. So when we see the recommendation, item 5, where it asks to accept Appendix A, that's actually going to be Appendix B. The engineer's report, the most recent copy has been provided for you. That also lists Appendix B as the actual listing of the parcels with the corresponding sewer charges. And then Appendix A, which is incorrectly listed in the agenda item, is actually the samples of the letters that we sent out. So just that clarification. The last thing is Appendix C, is a list of reductions that we have granted for 6 parcels. This is a standard practice we have each year. After we send the notices out, we'll get communications from property owners requesting review of their accounts. And we'll take a look, and if they had a leak in a monitoring period that's unrepresentative of their annual sewer usage, we'll figure out what the best corresponding usage is and do some reductions on that. So that is, again, Appendix C that's listed, has the listing on there, and you had that made available to you today. Other than that, we did see an interesting decrease in sewer usage for residential properties this year. So we did not, despite our already pre-approved rate increase, we didn't see an actual increase in revenue from single-family residential. That stayed at the same level. So there's definitely it was a wet winter, so there was some conservation going on, which is good. But other than that, our total revenue that we're asking you to accept this year is $29 million and $29,550,365.06. So with that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you. Questions? Steve?
You mentioned something about rates didn't increase even though volume went down.
So yeah, volume went down for the residential properties, the single family residential, but the rates did go up a little bit. So the overall effective revenue that we stand to get is basically flatline, same as last year.
So to clarify, to be clear, you're saying the volume of sewage decreased
From residential, yes.
for residential, even though we had an increase in population.
Yeah.
I get the wet winter. That would be if you base your sewer charges on fixed water rate and rain and exterior, but the actual amount of flow going down is puzzling but interesting. But nice to know that we're covering our costs. Thank you.
Steve, did you have anything? I mean, Phil, did you have anything? No? Michelle? All right. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Nice presentation. Are there any speaker cards for this?
We have one speaker, and the speaker is going to be Tim Swing.
Tim still here? Looks like maybe he's not here anymore. Oh, there he is. Okay. Hello, sir. Welcome.
I'm Tim Swing. I was before you guys 15 months ago asking why our sewer department can't do its job of cleaning the sewers and putting boric acid or another type of bait which kills cockroaches, sow-bugs, and earwigs. So these cockroaches don't come up our sewer pipes, come into our bathrooms. That's the first place they go. Now, I don't know how much or how well you people know how the drains work on your house. Your bathtub has a vent pipe, which is an overflow. Your sink should, in your bathrooms, have a vent to let the air out of the pipe so the water will go down. There's a tool. It's about this long. It's plastic. It has little barbs on it. So you push it down that vent and you pull it back out to clean out anything that is clogging the vent, which makes the water not go down as fast as it's supposed to. When you pull that back out and out come cockroaches, the city's got a problem. And I asked for this 15 months ago. They haven't done a thing. The amount of money that we pay as a base sewer fee is supposed to cover that sewer machine and the crews cleaning those pipes and putting either boric acid or the cockroach salvage and earwig bait, which they use in Imperial Valley to keep the pestilence from damaging the crops. Why can't these people do their job? I see inefficiency. If the mayor needs my help to kick the butt of the person in charge of that department, all he's got to do is ask me. I watch you on television going round and round with the county, and I know you're working damned hard to take care of the homeless situation. And they don't want to cooperate with you. And I know how hard you're working.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I see it all the time.
Let me ask our staff, do you want to comment on this at all? I know nothing about the mechanics of this.
I'll definitely look into the issue with the Public Works Department. It's not a complaint we hear frequently. I remember Mr. Swing from 15 months ago. So let me discuss it with our Public Works Department, and I will report back to the council on this situation specifically.
Can somebody also get back to the gentleman about this?
Yes, we can do that.
Sir, can you leave your phone number, and somebody will call you, and if for some reason you're not satisfied, can you come back and talk to us again?
Because I live in the area of El Cajon. There's an aerial photograph in the basement of City Hall, up on a wall. It covers from 3rd to 4th, covering from where the old freeway was all the way down past Melody. My home was one of the model homes in that area. I've got other neighbors that tell me, oh, man, where are these cockroaches coming from? I said, that manhole out in the street. But it's easier to crawl up your sewer pipe at night.
Well,
so, if you want...
Well, I'm going to let my staff look into this, talk to Public Works. They're going to contact you. If they're going to contact me back, and if we can't resolve this problem for some reason, then come back and talk to me again. But we're going to work on trying to fix it. I don't want anybody to have cockroaches in their home. If there's something the city can do to make that go away, we'll do whatever we can.
See,
by the way, thank you for your service in Vietnam.
If the cockroaches were in our neighborhood, we would see them at night, because that's when they come out.
Mm-hmm. You're right about that.
You would walk out of your house at 10, 11 o'clock at night, turn on a light, and you'd see the cockroaches running around on the ground. So when you don't see them running around on the ground, and then you have them coming out of your shower drain, bathtub drain, and in the vent pipe of your bathroom sinks, somebody not doing his job, and you guys are collecting a lot of money for these guys, and all I think they're doing is they're stroking it.
Well, let's look into it. I thank you for coming, though, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's keep in touch and figure this problem out. All right. Anybody else?
No other speakers.
Okay. All right, council is back with us. Somebody like to make a motion? Oh, I'm sorry. I have to make a motion to close the public hearing. And I will do so if I have a second. Thank you. All right, now it's back with us.
Motion carries by unanimous vote of those present.
Looking for a motion.
I'll move to adopt the staff recommendation as presented in the agenda report with the modification of accepting Appendix B instead of Appendix A as previously mentioned.
All right. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote of those present.
All right, we have two administrative reports on today's agenda. Item 10 is the NRPA/DOJ mentoring opportunities for youth initiative grant acceptance. And I'll ask staff to tell us all about this.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council members. My name is Elena Holmes, and I'm joined by Tim O'Melia, Parks and Recreation Supervisor. Today, we're going to give an overview of Parks and Recreation's recently awarded grant opportunity with the NRPA. First, a brief overview of the NRPA. NRPA is the National Recreation and Park Association, a nonprofit agency that has established mentorship programs all over the country. These programs help connect youth with mentors, increase collaboration, and strengthen communities. 15 agencies have been awarded NRPA grants since 2018. Overall, parks and recreation agencies in the U.S. reach 40 million youth annually. This grant funding gives us the opportunity to build connections with the youth of El Cajon, which matches our department's mission to develop youth, support families, and provide safe places. This grant is primarily directed towards providing programs outside of school hours. Funding from this grant is supported by the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Program and supports youth mentorship in El Cajon through October 2025. We are one of 3 municipal parks and recreation departments in the state to receive this award. In total, this grant is funding mentorship programs at 20 agencies over the next 3 years. Ultimately, our goal is to increase positive outcomes in at-risk youth.
So a little bit about this program in regards to the mentorship framework overall. For this proposed mentorship program, I really do want to highlight our Teen Coalition. I know most of you are very familiar with our Teen Coalition, and a quick reference, it is for youth in grades 6 to 12 who are in the City of El Cajon residents, or they go to our schools within the City of El Cajon. So for this program, we will be incorporating a group mentorship component within the Teen Coalition, as well as tasking them in a leadership role to help us deliver and implement a mentorship component within our youth sports programming. The thought process behind this, so by leveraging our already established youth sports programs, we will look to provide guest speaker opportunities, additional fun activities, and engagement within the community as a whole. And just briefly, so with this program, some of our big picture goals, we would like to establish and to provide a group mentorship to the youth of El Cajon. Again, we look to establish this within our Teen Coalition and specifically our youth sports programming. We look to increase community collaboration through this program. And then we also are looking to develop stronger relationships. Those relationships would be through the participants of this program, so relationships amongst peers. And overall with this program, we are looking to, importantly, just improve the quality of life and the positive outcomes that are within the lives of the El Cajon youth. So with that, our recommendation to council is to accept, appropriate, and expend grant funding from the National Recreation and Parks Association, mentoring opportunities for youth initiatives. And with that, that concludes our presentation, and we are here for comments or questions.
Thanks very much. Let me see if there's some questions. Anybody? Thanks. I appreciate your presentation. Jen, any speaker cards on this?
There are no speaker cards, sir.
Okay. If there's no further discussion, would somebody like to proceed with the motion?
Move to accept and approve.
Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote of those present.
The second administrative report on today's agenda, item 11, is a report on the availability of public restrooms for transit passengers at the El Cajon trolley stations. I'll ask staff to tell us about this, and I think I remember we talked about this at our goal setting.
Yes, Mayor, you're correct. As part of that goal-setting session, staff was asked to provide the council with an analysis of where exactly, status of where restroom facilities are located for the riding public for the MTS transit and trolley system. So I believe there is your Exhibit A that's in your staff report. I'm having pulled up right now. I'll just wait a second. There it is. If you can blow that up just a touch. So what I did was I focused on Santee, El Cajon, La Mesa, our neighbors, and where their restroom facilities are. As you can see by the exhibit, Santee has one stop with bathroom facilities. La Mesa has 2 stops with bathroom facilities. El Cajon has 3 stops, none of them with designated bathroom facilities, except the A-Mart. The A-Mart is a convenience store located on the trolley property, on the MTS property, and it does de facto serve as a restroom for the riding public. The way that system works is that riders would come off at the Marshall station, they would go into the A-Mart, they would secure a token, they would go through a turnstile, and then into the restrooms. And that's not actually an ideal situation. The system is somewhat cumbersome. As I mentioned in the staff report, the riding public who get off at that station and need to use the restroom have to go through kind of a circuitous route to get the token, to go through the turnstile. They could easily miss bus connections or connections to their next stop. There is no, I visited the site in part to prepare for this report. I didn't see any external signage on the A-Mart or at the platform, so there's very little advertising to the riding public that a restroom is available at the Marshall stop. So that's really what the situation is at this point. We have our neighbors to the north and west with stops that have designated bathroom facilities, but El Cajon has a bit of a cumbersome system at the Marshall location. And when we look at what MTS is doing, which is trying to better utilize and redevelop some parking areas by encouraging the development of affordable housing and market rate housing, as they are here in El Cajon, the opportunity to request of them to make the investment and provide designated restroom facilities for transit riders would be an appropriate action to take at this time. Our abilities are somewhat limited because we do not own the MTS property. The MTS owns that property. They operate the system. So the best we can do at this point is point out the necessity of this basic of all needs and the lack of facilities that are currently provided. And staff can certainly engage in conversations with MTS and a formal letter from the City Council addressing this issue could be sent. And also we can continue our discussions with MTS as we are with the development of the El Cajon site for housing, and talk about that in conjunction with that over the next several years. If you're going to want to include ridership and include activity around the transit stations, it would be very wise to include restroom facilities that are designated for MTS and not part of a convenience store. So that's the analysis that we conducted. My recommendation is that this council directs staff to write a letter and make our feelings known on the issue, and continue a dialogue with MTS towards ultimately realizing, a restroom facility at one or more of our stations.
Thanks, Vince. Any questions for Vince? All right. Let's see if there's any speaker cards on this.
No speaker cards, sir.
All right. Well, I recommend we accept Vince's proposals. They all seem reasonable to me. Do you need us to vote on this, Vince? Or?
Just to receive the report and appropriate direction has been given to staff.
So moved. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote of those present.
Okay. We're at activity reports. Minor is reported. Deputy Mayor Steve Goebel.
As reported.
Councilmember Phil Ortiz. Councilmember Michelle Mitchell.
As reported.
Thank you. There are no joint councilmember reports, no general information items, no first or second readings of ordinances or closed session on today's agenda. And so that brings us to adjournment. The regular joint meeting of the El Cajon City Council, El Cajon Housing Authority, successor agency to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency, held this 11th day of July 2023, is adjourned till Tuesday, July 25th, 2023 at 3 o'clock p.m. Thank you very much.